Bad Movie Crew. Bad Movie Crew.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everybody is well. Welcome to another edition of the Bad Movie Crew. You know me as Neil, your host, and you also know him as Mark, my brother, also your host.
But once again, it's the incredible.
Jeez, oh, bro, a big lyric. Yeah. That's a big lyric. Anyhow, we back here again. As usual, Bad Movie Crew, BMC. We are back on the ones and twos. You liking the content? You enjoying it? So we want to thank everybody for the love and support. You are subscribing, so tell your friends to continue to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything coming on the pipeline. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As I just said, you could dislike. That's fine. It is, a very subjective kind of thing. We don't consider ourselves, although we always joke and say we is experts, it's just two men that love movies. So at the end of the day, you don't really go to school to be a movie reviewer. Not that we know about. But yeah, so like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Dislike. Do all them good, sexy, sweet things for Christmas. It's Christmas. Look at my background. Look at there. You give me a light for Christmas? You let poor little Timmy starve?
One more like, and we get rid of Christmas shoes.
All right, then think about Clarence. He want to get his angel wings. Jeez, oh man. Shit. Anyhow, Mark, we get into it. What are we reviewing on this episode of the Bad Movie Crew?
Today, we're going to take it back just a little bit with the upcoming release of Matrix 4. We thought we would do a kind of little retrospective on the first three, just shoot the breeze, talk about what we like, what we did like, how we could have probably made it better, what would have made it better, and then what we hope for the upcoming movie, because I will admit, I kind of hype, and the last trailer I just saw, got the hype me to turn up a little more, so we just do this, get this retrospective on the road.
Right.
Okay. But, sir, before we get this retrospective going, did you know we have a fan base on Ward B5, sir? Did you know that? Ward
B5, that's a clique, that's a crew, that's a corner.
Sir.
Oh, okay. Cause that sounds.
It's not a hospital, sir. Okay. It's not a hospital. It's Ward B5. Sir.
I thought that was a block down Orleans or something. Nah,
we probably got some fans down there. You never know. We got reach. We can see. We known in the streets.
Yeah, in the streets.
You know what I mean? So again, we got a little message. So I'll just read out what was sent to me. There's a shout out from Ward B5. They say continue to make them laugh because they really do need it. And one day, you never know, they may end up going live with us. That might happen that might happen. We might do a live and we can, link up. I personally wanted to shout out everybody personally, but they were too shy for names. So me, being me, you can make up names here. I shout them out. You can make up names here now. So there was Brenda, Letitia, Linda, Felicia, Dawn, LaShawn, Inez, and Lisha. Lisa, Veronica, Karen, Vicky, Cookie. Well, I met her in the ice cream parlor. Tanya, Diane, Lori, and Carla. Marina, Selena, Katrina, Sabrina, Shelly, Bridget, Kathy, Rashida. About 3 Kims. You missed the what?
Oh, sorry. What?
Anyhow, as y'all understand what we're going.
That's hurt my voice, I'm not that person, I'm not the late great next, but yeah.
Yeah, that's really not their names, but again, we're just keeping it lighthearted. But again, we want to shout out to all the people in the medical community. We know it's been trying 2 years now? 2 years? 2
years, brother man.
Shit. Yeah, so, and I know y'all are doing your best, and we appreciate it. So Ward B5, we will continue to put out some content and try to make you guys laugh. Anyhow, on to the retrospective, my brother.
Yeah, shout out to Ward B5. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and continue to watch, continue to like, continue to share, and we will continue to make you laugh. Anyhow, we're going into the Matrix. No. First things first, we have to say, Matrix is one of our most favorite franchises of all time. It kind of burst onto the scene back in 1999. We knew Keanu Reeves, he's the star, he's Neo. We knew him from movies like Speed. He was also in Bill and Ted, The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, he was. And then he had that Johnny Pneumatic movie that kind of was like a
precursor to the Matrix.
Yeah.
He was in Point Break as well. So, and he wasn't necessarily known for his acting range at the time. You know what I mean?
Saying.
And look at him today, kicking all types of, I don't need to say two words.
Funny enough, I think that is what made him perfect.
Oh,
for the role of Neo.
Right. But so let's get into it. If you talk about the Matrix franchise, movie franchise, because we can only be covering the movie franchise in this, because we only got about so much time. We're going with the movies alone. We have to start. You have to start with The Matrix. The first thing that set it off. In 1999, now The Matrix burst out onto the scene. It was a cyberpunk, futuristic, cryptic, kind of, oppressive type of dystopian future type of vibe. It was one of those things where I remember the marketing back in 1999. It was, what is The Matrix? That was the biggest thing going into it. Like, nobody knew what The Matrix was. It was very hush-hush.
For all of the younger viewers, there was no internet. So
well,
there was spoilers.
There was internet, but
there was internet, but no. There wasn't enough spoilers. You can go and you had these people that was just hunting for spoilers. So literally, when he might say, "What is The Matrix?" That was all the marketing.
Yeah,
he's talking about marketing. I didn't see any marketing for this movie. Like, I didn't see any marketing.
I did a crash marketing thing. Anyhow, we can get into it. So the three movies, The Matrix released in 1999, The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions both released in 2003. The Matrix Reloaded was released in May of 2003 and The Matrix Revolutions was released in November of 2003. All of these films are obviously owned by the Warner Brothers Entertainment, distributed by Village Roadhouse Pictures, and also produced in part by Silver Pictures. It was obviously created by the Wachowskis. Back then they were known as the Wachowski brothers. They've obviously transitioned and they are now the Wachowskis, and it was also produced by Joel Silver. Now, as I said, 1999 it burst out onto the scene, and it was phenomenal. I from my personal experience, I remember seeing the poster. Back then, there was a cinema called the Vista. For those of you who don't know the Vista, that is there in Worthing by the Cave Shepherd, where it is now. Anyhow, our international viewers, like, y'all just saying words.
But by the way, you know that we entitled to bar cars now, right? Officially.
Or just let me continue the blasted show, man. Come with that foolishness. Anyhow, but yeah, so this burst on the scene, and I remember in 1999, I saw the poster outside the Vista. I knew nothing about it. I saw Keanu Reeves, and I just was like, yeah, let me keep my head straight and focus my traffic, because I have no intention of watching this. And then the Sunday, I remember being at home, and back then E! Entertainment used to show, they had a channel on the cable that I had, and they were showing in a filler between like two shows, they were showing just like a behind the scenes featurette on The Matrix. And I remember seeing Trinity climbing the wall in that hallway scene, doing a side flip and kicking a man. I remember seeing Neo dodge bullets. I remember Trinity do the little crane thing. And I was like, what's pretty shiny? What's this? What's this? And I remember getting on the phone with Mark, with you, and I remember saying very pointedly, hey man, we need to find ourselves to watch this movie. It coming out Thursday, I see. We're gonna watch this movie. So said, so done. And I remember when we went to watch it, Mark, we went to one of the first showings in Barbados.
Yep.
And I remember it was literally, it wasn't even standing room only. Wherever you could find a space is where it was. I remember we were in the first row between us and the screen. Yep. And there were 3 or 4 rows of people sitting in front of us. No seats, but people just sitting on the ground.
Man, on the ground. Right? It was that worse. It was just that phenomenal.
And I remember when this movie started, the iconic scene of when the policeman go to get Trinity in the little motel room, and she does the crane kick, slows down time, and it does that sitting down. I remember it was bedlam. I remember how I was wearing glasses. I don't wear glasses as much now, but I had glasses on. I remember one of my friends hitting them off my face when Neo dodged bullets on the roof. Sorry. I have to say a spoiler alert for a movie that's been out 22 years. I mean, granted, some of you may not watch The Matrix, and this new Matrix Resurrections would have piqued your interest and want you to watch The Matrix. So I can say, spoiler alert, we can be spoiling the hell out of movies that are nearly 20 years old.
These are old enough to drink.
Right. Shit. Right? So The Matrix, Mark, was amazing. It brought up a lot of concepts and themes of religion, duality, reality simulation, obviously empowerment, seeing more to yourself, seeing more around you, being aware. Neo is obviously quite literally an analog for Christ. He is the Trinity, because there is a Trinity. It's very steeped in Christianity and Christian themes. And it was cool. It was cool. The special effects have been parodied from here to oblivion. It won it has won many awards. Bullet Time was created, and Bullet Time is well, when I say hold on, it did not create Bullet Time. But it was the first. It was the first movie. I would say
perfected.
Yeah, it was the first movie to kind of make it mainstream. Yeah, because a year before there was Blade. That little scene in my mind. It wasn't a big scene, but
the first black Marvel superhero. Let me put that there.
It wasn't T'Challa. It was not T'Challa.
Let me put that there.
Talk the things.
Right. Good. All right. Cool.
Right. So we had that, and it was hella cool. It was hella cool. Just the slow motion, the speeding up, actually seeing bullets move at their perspective, at their relativity to the world around them, and people reacting to those things, right? I cannot impart upon you how we felt as a collective, as our friends, as the Bad Movie Crew in its early years, how we felt about seeing this movie on screen. This was a cinematic. This is why you pay to go and watch movies, right?
It is.
Right?
It is. It really is.
The movie, against a $63 million budget, it made $466 million. Obviously, that was for their time, but overall, the series, it launched a franchise that is well over $3 billion. No, shoot, they're making another one. And that movie, in my estimation, was near perfect. It wasn't perfect, but if for a cinematic,
there's some things that to this day I still question.
Yeah. But I think in terms of an overall movie, for a movie that had cinematography, the acting, the choreography, the special effects, the themes, shoot. It was, I would say, we can do a quick rating. We can kind of blow through these movies, but the first Matrix, I would damn near give it, I won't give it a 5, but I can't even get a 4.5. That's too low. 4.75 blue pills, red pills. I think we did the red pills.
Yeah, we did red pills.
4.75 out of 5 for the Matrix. I don't know how you feel about it, Mark.
I echo your sentiments on the movie, because again, like you said, we weren't privy to a lot of the trailers, a lot of spoilers that we get now. So when you see a movie, you really have to go on the faith that this movie can be good.
Well, it can be something.
It can be something, you know what I mean? So when you watched it, it's hard to describe just the sheer joy you get the first time you see bullet time. When Neo dodges the bullets for the first time. Mm-hmm. And they do a good job of making the villain the villain. Oh. Like, he turns up and you get a sense of dread every time. Like, in the first 20 minutes of the movie, when they're interrogating him, and Neo's like, give me my phone call, give him the finger, and then all of a sudden, like, his mouth just disappears. Like,
and they put a bug thing in his stomach. I think for me, it was like, whoa, what?
Yes, me. So it was like, what are you watching? Like, like it was like, what the watching? Is this a horror? Is this?
What? Yes, B.
Like, what we going on? Is the Matrix a horror, or are these like aliens that got me thing? Then
yes, B. Like,
and then they cut it, and the editing on this part is fantastic.
Yes,
like they show you put the bug in his stomach. No, it's not normal. It's literally a bug. It's not a tracker. And the man put this thing that goes through his navel, and then literally they hard cut to him waking up in the morning like a bad dream. Like,
is it a dream? Like, what's happening?
Like, so you're saying so you go from a very high in the first 5 minutes of the movie to what the going on, and it really plays with your emotions in those first 20 minutes. So it sets up what's going on, because if Trinity is such a badass to take down a whole squad of police, and she is running from this one man.
Yes, be in a suit. That wear shades at night.
I wear my sunglasses at night, so I can. She's great. This is a musical episode after all.
That is a big track. I know that with the children, they know that, but that is a broad track.
That's another big one. But so if you are so bad and you are running from this man, well, clearly he's the bigger bad.
That man is the larger Bobby.
But at the end of the day, he's still not even the larger Bobby in the movie.
All right, then.
Because it wasn't even Agent Smith that was running the man. It was one of the side guys. And I was like, oh, wait, hold on. Well, wait. If she running from he, and he's answer to he.
Yeah,
what we can do with this man?
Yep.
And then, obviously, after the highs and the whatever, you're going to have your little exposition.
And
which I think kind of kills the flow of the movie, which is one of the knocks I have on it. Like, that middle part I get why they did it.
Well, they have to do it. They have to give some exposition.
You can't just give me Trinity flying and a man mouth disappearing and not telling me, well, this is what the going on. And I was like, okay, cool. And they tried to splice some action in the middle, like the training sequence with Morpheus and Neo. Yeah, so it's cool. And it's good. But then when from the time you hear, what do you need? And my man say, guns. Lots of guns.
So bread.
From there, it is just honestly, I don't think I had to watch that movie 3 or 4 times to see the conclusion. Because as we said in the first one, cinema pop. So when something happened, and again,
beer noise.
So
how we in the Caribbean do it, right? Is when
it is noise.
Trust me, when we saw Bullet Time for the first time, there wasn't a conversation we heard of that. It was beer, but we were jumping up, we were shouting, we were hitting whatever we could hit. If there was dialogue after it,
be here.
Dialogue be damned.
And the thing is, right, I probably watched that movie 3 or 4 times within a week. So and I want you to know that every time I watch it, there was somebody keeping noise, which is why I had to end up going to watch it like 3 or 4 times. So, and it was well worth the money. I really care. You tell me.
No money well spent. And we were students at that time, you know.
Yeah, I'm saying.
We
were saving money and going. But it set a standard that I think very few movies have duplicated, reached, touched, whatever you want to say. And it, like you said in the intro, it has been parodied from 1999 up to 2000, up to today.
To today, boss. Shoot. The trailer parodied the movie.
The movie. I'm saying, exactly.
Beat for beat.
So, I mean, again, I don't mind the exposition back then, when we were just sitting down watching it. It didn't make sense. But now that you're a little older and you understand the concept of movies a little more, you can appreciate the exposition. And they weren't trying to fool you with anything. It wasn't like we trying to be, yes, the themes were thought-provoking, but it wasn't like the dialogue in the movie itself had a lot of meaning. You know, like, okay, so we are essentially slaves in a computer program, and this is whatever said. It has the whole, like you said, the religious overtones, how we are controlled by media, this or whatever. Again, that's 1999, and this 20 odd years later, we still having the same issues. So but it didn't hit you over the head with it.
Yeah, it wasn't too overt.
It let you come to your own conclusions from the movie. Even I get to it. But another thing that bothers me about the movie was, again, after my 4th or 5th or 100th watching of the movie, I'm still yet to figure out how Cypher.
Oh, that's the biggest loophole in our movie, boss.
I'm trying to figure out how did Cypher.
How he betrayed the man? How he get in the Matrix? If you needed somebody to jack you in and to program you in the Matrix, how he get in there to have a conversation with? So
by that logic, there should be another traitor.
Oh, suppose it's Trinity.
Well, that's even possible. But there had to be another traitor on the ship.
But she's the only one that survived from the first one.
Because
through all of them.
You have to literally plug in, jack in. You got to shove this long ass 12-inch needle in the back of your head. And then you are literally incapacitated when it connects with you. So how are you typing it? So like that is the one major. I mean, this is 20 odd years later, and I am still trying to figure out.
That's a major plot point.
There have been countless videos. YouTube people talking about this, and up to now nobody has given you a definitive
answer.
Thing. That to me, that's like my biggest knot. But going back to the whole interpretation thing, even that hallway scene when Neo comes back, if that is not a direct representation of Christ coming back, I don't know what to tell you if you don't see it that way.
Well, to me, all that does is put a bow on the whole Christ analogy in this whole movie. So like at that point, I was like, you know what, sure, he's Christ. Let me just watch Neo do as he like.
Yeah, so like I said, and again, after rewatches, you pick up subtle things that are said earlier in the movie, like when he goes to see the Oracle and she says, well, oh no, you're not the one. You wish you were, but you're not. Whatever, you might be waiting on another life or something. that can be directly tied to him being shot in the hallway. And it's something like that, like I said, as I was alluding to earlier, it doesn't beat you over the head with it. It's something very, very subtle that you gotta tell yourself, oh wait, but she did say that. And he did lose his life. And he did come back. And he did enter his new life.
Yep.
Here's another one. This is the one that is really kind of people head. Did Trinity love Neo because he was the one? Or
did he become the one?
Or he did become one because Trinity loved her?
Yeah. That was one of them my that early on they let go. Because it was like, nope. I am not chasing my tail. I ain't chasing my tail with that. Nope.
Exactly. So, like you said, 4.75 red pills for the first Matrix.
Just to wrap up on this, definitely I agree with you. I think even though the pacing was not 100% perfect, I think it did something that very few movies to this date do in terms of going into the third act with just pace, but still retaining a level of spirit and like not going too full jumping the shark. You know, like it's like we still retaining the salient message of this humanity versus artificial intelligence. What is humanity? What is servitude? You know what I mean? It keep the themes. It still kept the themes, but damn, it was stylish. Anyhow, that was stylish. That was the first. That was the first Matrix. We had the second Matrix. Now the Matrix Reloaded that came out in May 2003. It was 127 to 150 million dollars. Obviously, the budget going up because it make a buttload of money, right?
Correct.
$739 million it made back. I think it was a very good successor to the Matrix. I would say that going into Matrix Reloaded, I'm not gonna lie to you, I started the internet probably every week in them 4 years just to see anything to do with the Matrix. I remember because back then, you know, internet wasn't perking. Used to take a whole night to download a song, right?
Sir. We do not partake of the high seas activity. What are you talking about?
Well, I said download a song. I never said it was illegal. I mean from a friend that bought the CDs or the music, sir.
Oh, okay, all right. Just checking.
So what are you trying to imply?
We is upstanding. We upstanding gentlemen.
We don't pirate nothing. We are of the Caribbean, but we're not pirates of the Caribbean. Anyhow, moving swiftly along. So it was a time where downloading 5 minutes of content of video or audio took hours on end. And I remember...
And you better hope no boy don't call.
And you better hope no boy don't call. It's true because we was on dial-up. And I remember seeing the scene where, you know, just after he fought the Merovingian. No, sorry, not the Merovingian, but in the hall where he fights all those guys and they're fighting with weapons or whatever. And he's like running across the balcony.
Jumping,
right? And I remember saying that. And that was the only thing I had to hold on to. And I was like, geez, I can't wait for this movie. I cannot wait for this movie, right? And to me, it lived up to it. No, in the second one, they're fully in their war against the machines. They're looking to free as many minds as they could from the growing fields and the Matrix. Neo is quite literally do anything, man. He can fly. He can stop bullets. He can move quicker than anything else. Shoot, my man even pulls a bullet out of a woman later on in this movie. The man literally can't do anything. Neither here nor there. I think the second one worked, although I think it relied a bit more heavily on special effects based on some of the set points that they wanted to do. For example, there's a scene where Neo goes up against quite literally an infinite army of Agent Smiths. And while at the time...
I want you to know in that scene, if that man worked that pole better than any flight person I have seen in life.
The man had it literally whistling. That pole whistling. But for me, that scene suffers no shoot. That scene suffered back in 2003. When after 6 months, he was like, they got better special effects out there. And they sure for $150 million when they could do a little better here. But the set piece was awesome. There is a scene that I personally like in the movie, which is the highway scene. That whole highway scene, and then Neo flying and catching Morpheus and the Keymaker.
Yes.
Like, that scene.
I think that's the highlight. That quite possibly might be the highlight of the movie for almost everybody.
Yeah, like when you think about how quickly he has to fly from wherever he was to wherever they were, catch them while they are in an accident, flying at high speeds. The man caught them like they were just tennis balls. It was amazing. But what I would say, why will not this film, is because I think they got a bit too full of themselves. They got a bit too, started to smell their own funk a bit, and they start to kind of live in it a bit. A lot of terms start to get a lot of, you get a lot of vis-a-vis. You get a lot of Ergo, you get like to me, the architect's speech encapsulates what they were thinking when they were going in this movie. It's like, look, we have such a massive hit on our hands. We have to be as pretentious as possible. The action, the set pieces were amazing. Bullet time is still there. The action is still on point, but it was bogged down with a lot like the Merovingian. The Merovingian and that scene in the restaurant and him.
Yeah,
but
talking about control. And
like it starts to kind of smell its own stink. And the reason why his wife betrays the Merovingian, and then the explanation with these rogue programs, and then there's this whole train debacle. Like it started to get a little too strange. In my opinion, it got really weird. And then Agent Smith can, after being deleted in the first program, well, not deleted, but being destroyed seemingly in the first Matrix, he can imprint himself on other people connected to the Matrix and other programs, replicating himself.
Yeah.
And he can exist outside of the Matrix by infecting someone's brain. Which it started to get a little, they started to create problems for them, like situations for themselves. Is like,
why would you need to do all of that?
Well, you need to do this. Well, you need to do this, right? I'm going to rate the second Matrix a 4 out of 5 because the action is still there. The pacing is still there, but you can tell that they were like, oh, we got it now. We got the juice. We got the stick. Yeah. So we can shake it. Another thing I would say, if I said it years ago, if I were to be doing that, I would have done it where Neo doesn't get fully superpowered. Like I would have gone like a 6 months in, or even a transitionary period between the first Matrix. Like after he has realized his powers, he is now testing his limits and seeing what he can do. Like to me, having him in the second Matrix realize, well, shoot, I can do as I feel like, when I feel like, if I feel like. I have no danger for him. Shoot, he flies faster than light to catch Trinity when she's falling, and he takes a bullet out of her. So then it's like, well, this man, which is funny because Keanu Reeves is no John Wick, which is the same thing. I don't have any concern for his well-being in these movies because he can do it all. But it then seems, because then when they have the upgrades of the agents, they're like, what you all can do to a man that can stop bullets by a wave of his hand. You know what I mean? So I would have gone a bit slower and say eventually we would have gotten to where he was in the second one. But I would have started off by making the second one be about him now learning his abilities, and let's say him realizing he could fly, for example, like shoot. But I understand why they did it, because it's like, once you put your mind to it, you could do anything you want in it. But I would have liked to see that process. I think that would have been a more enjoyable journey. Yeah. So for me, 4 out of 5 red pills.
Fair enough. I can see your points. I found the exposition in this one was a lot more.
Ooh boy, shut up.
I don't know if they went into it knowing that it was going to be a trilogy. So the last one going to be like all out action or whatever. But and it wasn't even that, but we can get to that. But they like you said, they started to smell the self is like, you know, when you get a teenager and you start to get that little bass in your voice, and you just want to talk about your parents, and then your parents hear cough in your chest and be like, oh, I'm about to be the boy now.
You're right.
Yeah, you're right. I understand. I see your point. But as much as I love that Neo versus 100 agents, it's still problematic in the sense that you want to know have a danger for Neo, but he fights 100 agents and then has to take off because it's too much. To me, that fight was unnecessary. Like, you could have done without that fight.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. It didn't need to be that long for sure. Like, after a while, it's like, all right, we get it. We kind of, we get it. I mean, there were certain parts of it that was cool, but it's like,
after, so like you realize, okay, so all Agent Smith holler is more and more agents coming, to the point where literally just holler, this is my stop. I off here. So then why have why have the fight? Because the fight didn't resolve anything.
I guess it was to show.
It showed you that Neo could get hurt. Okay, fine, you have that, but you could have still.
The Merovingian fight showed that.
Exactly, because he got cut. So you can see that.
I think it was just.
I think it was more like fast. It was more like all right, yeah, we talk a little too much. Let me give you a set piece here and whatever. So
I think it's also a combination to show where Agent Smith was. Like, we knew that he could replicate, but to what scale and what has he done to show the damage in the Matrix?
I agree with you with the rating. As much as people knock the architect's speech, I just find it hilarious.
Ergo vis-a-vis.
It is literally
something as insipid as love. Jesus. Hardline me.
Like, it's literally just, to me, it's funny. Like, the man is as pretentious as he can be.
Deadpan.
At deadpan, like, hats off to the actor, because I can, like, Will Ferrell and Justin Timberlake parodied that scene. Or I think the MTV Awards.
Yeah, MTV.
The MTV Awards. And even Will Ferrell couldn't keep his face straight. Because keep a straight face. And I'm like, the man was just talking and just clicking his pen and whatever. But the revelation, that this has happened before.
And it's just cycles, yeah. More than just one.
I think that was the holy moment of that. So it's like, holy shit. So then, so they're accustomed to this, and then, so does that mean? And
my man said they've become efficient at it, man. This is the sixth time that they've destroyed Zion. We become exceedingly
efficient at it.
She saw very hard.
The man said they're sending 250. What the thing is?
250,000 sentinels, one for each man, woman, and child. Jesus.
Man said, we ain't getting, nobody ain't doing double duty.
We ain't doubling it up.
We ain't doubling that.
They got a child, baby in arms. He's the dead. We can send the same look for him.
And you, yeah. So I'll give you 4 out of 5. Give it 4 out of 5 for the Reloaded.
Right. So now we move on to Matrix Revolutions, the last one in the trilogy. This was released November 2003 against another hefty budget. You know, remember this early 2000s now, 110 to 150 million dollars. That's a lot, and it only made about 427.
Only.
Yeah, compared to other movies, especially after the sequel, it made less than the first one that kicked off the series. But there's a good reason why they did that, because for me, it doubled down on the pretense. It doubled down on the, he's a man now. He's an adult now. I can walk about and my shit don't stink. Because I think the architect was a precursor to just how convoluted this was. In this, they started to bring things like Neo literally can destroy things. Like, he has a power outside of the Matrix, and they never explained it. They never explained it. Only said that the powers of the one extend outside of the Matrix. They don't say why. And it was disappointing, because for a series that made it a point to explain every nuance in the power set and in the abilities and the reasons of the one, the motivations of the one, for it to come and just give it a throwaway line of, yeah, that's just the powers of the one permeate outside of the Matrix, is like,
that's part of you already had it, but you also walk on water.
Yeah, so
don't ask me how, but
yeah, I didn't understand that. I didn't like that. We had the war where the 250,000 Sentinels get into Zion. I think that was a bit tense filled. We saw it. We saw some people die, some people that we've come to, at least in the short term, start to like and admire. There is a bit of tension. I will give them that. There is some heroics and some action set pieces, but it's interspersed between a lot of, it's almost like they tried to catch their tail after the second one. So we've opened this rabbit hole. We've created a whole lot of threads that we need to kind of sort. And because of that is a lot of exposition. The Train Master, they had Sati or whatever her name was, and her parents, they wrote the programs. We went back to the Merovingian, and they're in a club, and like, it just goes back into this realm of pretense where there's a lot of exposition, there's a lot of heavy-handed dialogue, there's a lot of slogging through things, and the Matrix was never that. The first Matrix was almost a perfect balance of exposition, action. The second one, I understand you're introducing new plot points and everything like that. Therefore, there's a bit more exposition, but they still made up with it with huge set pieces and awesome action. To me, the awesome action in this came in a CGI-filled climax with Agent Smith. Well,
that wasn't even awesome.
Yeah, that was all right. Right?
It's like they just copied a Dragon Ball Z episode. Yeah, I mean, one of the few episodes that ever had a fight.
And not only that too, but even in that scene, they copied previous frames. Like, it was a mess to me. So the third one, we're coming out of Reloaded. We find out that Zion has been destroyed 6 times before. The machines have created. They understand that in creating the Matrix, there is always going to be an anomaly called the One, and they can't do anything about it. It's just part of the programming that it just is. So what they always do is when the One presents themselves, they come to an offer like, yeah, we ain't giving a handful of people to restart the human race or to continue the human race. But you see, rest of these here we can kill, just to let you know how school keeping. But we just want you to keep out the Matrix, please and thanks. Yeah, cool. And every 100 to 150 years, you have, the the population rises to a point where there's a rebellion and people want to jack into the Matrix and save people. I understand that, right? Just a lot of things hanging. We don't know what's going to happen with Zion in the upcoming war. A lot of people are kind of tense and, all right, cool. Going into that now, we pick up where everything happens and it just is so exposition filled. I understand. I see the Matrix trilogy as a 3-act play of the 3-act screenplay.
Yeah.
Like you have the first Matrix, which is the motivation.
The first act.
Explanation, motivation.
I get you.
The second is the motivation as to what's going on. Yeah, okay, so the killing Zion every couple hundred years. We gotta deal with this here. We gotta stop this cycle. And going into the end, it is a resolution to what's happening. It's very heavy-handed, man. It's very heavy-handed in the dialogue and the exposition. It slugs on in parts. Some parts it's actually quite boring. It climaxes in quite literally one of the only, if not the only big, well, no, there's the other set piece where the Sentinels attack Zion, right? That is, there's a bit of tension in there, but that's a CGI slugfest. Same thing with the Agent Smith versus Neo. Granted, there's some really cool moments in that fight, like the rain and, by the time they're hitting each other so hard, it's stopping the rain and, they're moving so fast that it frees rain. There's a punch at the end. Like, there's a lot of cool moments, but in the end, it is like when you come to the conclusion, I understand the conclusion. Neo says, you know what? I understand. I imprinted my part on you. You got to return to the source, which is me. The part in you got to return to the source. So you infest me, you take me over, you imprint the code back onto me and everything cancel out one-on-one. You cancel out everything. Destroys all of that.
Sounds like a lot of math that I didn't really want to do it anyhow.
Exactly, right? I understand it, but it was so convoluted, and I understand the Matrix is an intellectual movie, right? It is something you have to keep your thinking.
Especially the third one.
Yeah, but they start to introduce themes that are or situations that are so unnecessary, in my opinion. I know a lot of people can say it's their story, and you're right. It's their story. They wrote it. That's what it is. But it kind of creates a lot of problems in terms of the pacing, in terms of the momentum, in terms of the exposition, in terms of the action. Gone are the practical effects of certain large set pieces of action, and it's all CGI, and I understand. But it was a pain to get through, man. And for me, I can wrap this up now and say I gotta rate this one a 3 out of 5. I can still rate it as high as a 3, a little over half, simply because it ties up the story. It is a part of the Matrix, and it does have the motif and themes of the Matrix, and it does have some cool exposition and themes. But like Neo going blind and striking a deal with the machines, and like I understand all of that and everything like that. Even the cliffhanger that there may be another Matrix and everything like that. I get it, but it was just so anticlimactic to what was set up. Now, granted, I don't necessarily need bullet time all through. I did not need Neo to John Wick the whole situation and just fight off things. I didn't need that to happen. But in the end, it's like the first one was the perfect mix of action and exposition. The second one was a little more exposition, but action. The second one was all exposition and half-ass action, if you understand what I'm saying. And the disparity and the other two and that one is almost like the ugly stepchild, redheaded stepchild of the movie franchise. So to me, I gotta give it a 3 out of 5 for that.
I don't particularly like the third one. Like I'm all right. I don't love it. Let me say that. But as Neil said, it is in the Matrix. It wraps up everything. It has a couple cool set pieces. So it's a mild to warm, strong like for this one. And as Neil said, it well done with a lot of exposition where you set up an all-out war. Like you had your exposition in 2 and 3. Obviously, you can't give me 90, 100 minutes of all-out action. That's not gonna make sense.
Yeah,
I expect some exposition
and humanity and stuff in it.
But for what you said was going to be an all-out war, because this is going back to 2. This is the first time that the one has chosen a different option. So we are literally raging against the machine. Again, more musical references. Anyhow, but you're literally raging against the machine and telling yourself, but nah, I am not going to pick 7 people, 4 men, 3 women to keep the earth going again. I'm going to go and save what's here. So it set up what could have been a Lord of the Rings. I'm trying to think of like epic final battle movies, but Lord, like you could have said
Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is a perfect analogy because Lord of the Rings had a very, I think the Return of the King was a very good balance of action set pieces, the gravitas of what was built up before in the last two movies, and also the humanity and exposition of what's happening. Right.
So you could have had this kind of Lord of the Rings final battle where legit everything is on the line.
I didn't get
it. And he didn't get it. And you bring back Trinity and the two, just a fuck off with Genie.
I remember that was a huge problem for you back in the day. Back in the day, you was like, wait, so you save Shea part 2 to kill Shea part 3? That's how life goes, man. One day the bullet is for you, the other day the bullet is not for you, and then it's for you.
But hold on. Again, this took a bullet out of her. And also, his powers extend outside of the Matrix.
Amen.
So he can heal her?
Amen. Everything has limits, man.
Well, you make a good producer, sir. You make a good producer.
Amen. Everything has a limit, man.
Like I said, like those are like love problems. And to be quite honest, you said something earlier to like in your review of part 3 that finally put something in perspective for me, because I could never understand why when they fought in the end, the Matrix was all of a sudden able to delete Smith. But then when you said the whole core thing, I was like, oh, you know what? It took me 20 years to get it. But it never made sense to me, because to me it was like, but he's infecting people that's already, because he's infected pretty much the whole world. So he's already infected people that are connected. So why did it take Neo? But again, a lot of high math. If y'all don't know, me and math and codes in the frames, me up on Facebook, me up on Twitter, me up on Snapchat. I sent a request once and it blocked me. So we're not gonna understand how I feel about math. But you just highlighted something to me. Thank you. Good friend. But I'm gonna go 2.5. Because even
middling. You favorite too.
But I think for the 150 budget, and it was 2003, like you said, with the second one, you can realize that there are better graphics out there. And I think they didn't even realize it when they were doing the third. I mean, granted, everything was shot at the same time and probably edited at the same time. But you had a couple months to realize this ain't exactly look the best. Let me do something here.
And that's another, I'm glad you bring that up, because to me 6 months is a turnaround time between 2 and 3. Why didn't they take a year? When productions are shot back to back, they're usually released a year or so. Part 6 months to me was always kind of coming out of watching the third was like 6 months, so think of yourself a year.
I get you. But yeah, my rating is gonna be 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5 red pills. So no, we look forward very quickly to Matrix Resurrections. Obviously, this has all been leading to what we have seen in the trailers. Now, we clearly obviously have no idea where they're taking the story from here. We've seen glimpses in the first 2 trailers. There's been a second trailer. We did the first one. We really did the second, but we're going to cover a bit of it here. We are seeing certain themes. I think one of the beat is returning to what was before, right? For all we know, this may be another cycle. You know, the machines may be going back on their word. Maybe the humans went back on their word. But regardless, they're implying an impending war. They're implying that there's a familiarity. It is all business as usual. Things have been restarted. There's still the glowing fields. There's still a Matrix. Neo resides in the Matrix. One can speculate that after the climax of the third one, they took his body. Everybody thought he was dead, but I never thought he was dead. I just think that they kept his body to make sure. See you? Let me hold on to you.
You're a little special though. We're all created, but wait, is he lying? All animals are equal, but some are more.
Yeah, all pigs are equal, but some. So yes, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. So let me hold on to you, boy. And you know, it makes sense where Trinity comes back as well, because she died very near to 01, which is their headquarters, the machine headquarters. So they could have taken her body to and say, see this love thing? We didn't account. When the predecessors didn't choose no love, all of a sudden this love got you doing things outside the Matrix and flying boy players and things. Maybe you doing things where you blind and things. Maybe the same, but see, I want to let me experiment.
Quick fast and hurry.
Right. So I think that is what's happening there. They're being experimented on or kept and whatever to try to understand the whole love thing. And you know, 20 years is a good way to say we don't understand this love thing, because we is big men and we understand either.
Clearly don't understand it. Like, I mean, right? we don't get it.
So, Mark, what I will ask you is, we've seen the trailers for the Matrix. We've seen the second trailer. We've seen the beats of it being reminiscent of the first Matrix, specifically, the franchise. We've seen there's going to be an Agent Smith or a program like Agent Smith. We don't know if it's exactly Agent Smith, but we do see elements and themes of what came before. So what are you, obviously we're looking forward to it. We can watch this regardless, but what are you looking forward to and what are you worried about going into Matrix Resurrections, which comes out later this month?
I just want an expansion. If you're just doing this to cash in on a successful IP from back in the day, stop it.
Listen.
We've done it. Yeah, we've done it enough.
You don't have to bring up Star Wars. I was just about to say, don't bring up Star Wars. I literally was just going to tell you, do not bring up Star Wars. Well, let me stop you. Do not bring up Star Wars.
You got Star Wars, you got Terminator, you got Masters of the Universe, and they've all failed because
because they made money, so
they've failed. Anyhow, they've failed because one, it kind of disrespect the source material. I mean, granted, it's the Wachowskis that are doing it, so they should have appreciation for their source material. But in 2021, in this friendly environment that we have,
PC politically correct.
So you never know. And I am hopeful. That's the most thing I'm hopeful for. Like they expand the lore. Don't come and give me some cheap knockoff that where you want to gender swap or race swap or. Again, I have zero issues with a strong female lead, but don't come baiting me with, all right, we got back Neo, but it's Trinity. I mean, even if it is Trinity, and you could tell me that when he took the bullet out of her, again, he transferred some heat code, so now it kind of messed with the Matrix, and she is, cool, you know.
Which brings a very good point. Neo, practice safe, whatever you do. You put your hand in Trinity, she become, you let the agent come in you. Whoa, I didn't mean to come over like that, phrasing. But
phrasing.
You let the agent enter you, or you enter the agent.
First off, you enter the Mara or the mom entered you. All of a sudden, everything affected. Again, have subtle messages going on here, people.
CSX, discretion. Yeah, everybody that is to put your hand in.
The fact that you got you now with a straight face is hilarious.
I barely make it through. But yeah.
Anyhow, I just want a good story. Again, we already got bullet time. Bring something new. Bring a new concept because bullet time has been done to death. I don't know what you could do, but if you perfected, you really put bullet time mainstream, I'm pretty sure you could come up with some innovative way or whatever, and I'd be cool with it. Just don't come and tell me we race swapping and we got Trinity or the little small lady with the blue hair is now the one and you take a character that has had some great and some meaning like Morpheus and Neo and just reduce them to whiny side characters. That's my thing. I give a shit. I ain't PC. Don't make Neo and Morpheus whiny little bitches for the sake of propping up Trinity as they want, if that's the way you're going. I could be totally wrong. I hope to be wrong, but that's my little mini rant.
For me, what I would say I'm looking forward to is I'm just looking for, as you said, an expansion of the lore. I am looking forward to how the Wachowski, well, it's not really the Wachowskis, it's Lana Wachowski, how it's like looking at a project with fresh eyes. You know, what new are you bringing, as you said, or how you're taking the established like mechanics and themes and everything like that, and you kind of reworking it for 2021. I know already there are going to be themes of duality, sexuality, humanity, because that's just the Wachowskis' MO. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I want an entertaining movie, right? Obviously, it's going to be a lot of exposition to explain why the hell we here with a fourth movie 20 years later, but I still want something in keeping with the original Matrix. Obviously, the original Matrix was a lot of cool, stylized action, kung fu, interspersed with really cool exposition and thought-provoking themes. I want more of that. I want more of the first Matrix, if you understand what I'm saying. Because it feels as though they're gonna kind of resetting or rebooting, you know, Neo being the one and everything like that. He's kind of being sedated or whatever. So to me, if you can go about saying you're doing it over and making it like brand new, give me something similar to the first Matrix while dealing with the issues of the first one in terms of pacing, right? I don't expect an exact replica. I don't want a Force Awakens. I know there's going to be fan service, but let's be honest, at this point, it's like, yes, you're gonna tip your head and nod to a lot of people, but I don't want this movie to be 2.5 hours long because you spend half an hour tipping your hand to the people that come. You know, bullet time is fan service enough for me. Walking up walls is fan service enough for me.
No more 2.5 hour movies, please. I beg you.
No. We know got 2.5 movies to watch, bruh. The things I don't want to see is I know the Wachowskis, I know their MO. And again, I don't have a problem with it. It's when they get too heavy-handed with their messages, right? Sense8 was one of those projects, one of those series that I watched from the Wachowskis that had great, an amazing concept, an amazing set pieces and amazing themes. But then it's like they started to hammer home. It's like, yeah, this is what we're trying to show on here in no uncertain terms. And it was a little heavy-handed, man. It's a little heavy-handed.
Little?
I don't mind pepper and salt, but don't kill me. You know what I mean? We's black people. We got to worry about hypertension and that sort of thing, right?
Facts.
I don't want a beat for beat remake. I hope that the movie is making sense. Again, I can see how they can bring back characters and how they can have a Matrix 4. But I want it to be, I hope and praying the story is well done. It is not, as you said, just to say, you know what? We run out of ideas. We're trying to print money. Warner Brothers struggling. Let me get the Matrix 4 out there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Kick-Ass, right, man. I'm looking forward to, it's like a retake of a classic. You know what I mean? How you refresh it. You know, like Star is Born. Star is Born has been done time and time again, but it's been updated to the time. Obviously, the Matrix it was ahead of its time. I think that's what I'm trying to say, and I think somebody said it before online. The same way the first Matrix was ahead of its time and created a slew of like mechanics and storytelling and thought-provoking storytelling and plot points and everything like that. I would wish this movie could kind of replicate that. I don't want it to be a parody of what they made. You know what I mean? I want this to be something where they could kind of push the envelope forward, right? I mean, at this point, them obviously know what I'm doing. Them done bake it done in the can, it done coming out the 22nd of December.
Correct.
So whether we ready or not, the Matrix Resurrections is coming, ladies and gentlemen. And we have ranted and raved and talked for a little while here now, where we talked about the entire Matrix franchise and the upcoming movies. So tell us what you think. We love the series. We love the franchise. We just want it to be great.
Correct.
Star Wars, I hope you watch it.
As always, to all the subscribers, 62 at the time of filming, thank you. Continue to share, continue to like, comment. We getting some engagement on the actual videos and on the Facebook page when we post it. We love it all. For those that watch and aren't subscribed, just hit the button. It's free. You want free run? Think about the kids. Think about the angels. It's Christmas. You want Clarence Gamings? Anyhow. But as always, like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. And again, shout out to Ward B5. Do your thing, peoples.
Peace and love. And keep watching movies.
Yeah.